I'm making this video because I want to share my story of recovery and that it does get better, and that no matter what happens in your life and what struggles you go through, no matter what tragedies or no matter what people do to you, that life gets better no matter what. That you can make it through any storm that God throws at you. And this is my story of what He threw at me and how I got through it. My mom had me, and my dad was there, but they got divorced shortly after I was born. And so from the very beginning, separated parents was normal to me. And I know that there's so many people out there that have separated parents, and that's just normal. I was a young child when my mom first went to treatment for drugs. She went 3 times. Every time she went, I lived with my Nana and Papa, her parents. Thank God they were there, or else I would have gone to state or my father. Not saying my father was a bad father. He did the best he could, and I love him. But as I grew up, we didn't see eye to eye. He got married, and that caused some troubles. Not that his marriage was the trouble, it was the fact that his wife and I did not get along. And for a long time, we never really got along, and things would go well for a little bit, and then resentment would start to build up, and one of us would snap, mostly me. But as the years went by, I grew up, and I learned how to handle her, and she learned how to handle me. And on the aspect of step-parents, they're not all evil, and they try really hard. Just try to imagine marrying somebody you love and also trying to help raise their children. It is really hard, and you feel out of place. Our relationship today is wonderful. We can text each other, and that's absolutely a miracle. So, off that note, love your step-parents, because they do try, and give them a chance. Okay? Anyway, my mom went to treatment 3 times. 3rd time's a charm. She got clean. Another wonderful miracle in my life. Today she has 7 years, no alcohol, no drugs. Wonderful. But, and her time of using, I was young, so I can't really remember it. And there's kids out there who their whole life, all they know is their parents doing drugs. And I'm glad that I don't remember much. There's some hazy things that I remember, but they're very little, and maybe that's just my mind blocking out the things that I don't need to know. So I'm glad that I don't have those bad memories like some kids do. School started to get really bad for me in 4th grade. I became really behind. I didn't understand math, and I got really angry, and I was just an angry child in general, and I didn't know what I was so angry about. I just knew that life sucked, and I started to feel alone in school. I started to feel like I was alone in a room full of people. And I used to think I was the only one who felt that way. But I know today that there are so many of you that have felt that way. And the fact is is that if so many of us have felt alone in a room full of people, maybe we're not so alone. And we just need to find each other and stick together. I was getting really angry. Like I said, I would punch walls and throw desks and pencils and scissors and yell at people and would just have total tantrums. I remember telling my teacher that I wanted to drop out of school. I was in 4th grade. I didn't understand that you couldn't drop out in 4th grade. But I was ready to give up. That's when doctors diagnosed me with ADHD. And that is a term that is used very loosely in society nowadays. Any mental illness comes with a stigma. Unfortunately, ADHD comes with a stigma. And so from the time I was 9 years old, almost all the way through high school, people knew me as the Ritalin kid. I was the girl who had to leave for lunch early at school to go get pills to take so I would act normal. And if I started to act out, the teachers, the kids, would say, "Shaylin, have you taken your meds?" And that's when I discovered that I wasn't normal. And I couldn't be normal without medication. And so that feeling of being apart from others started more intensely. 6th grade, I moved away. My mom was pregnant. We moved somewhere else. I was very excited about my new sister. But 31 days into her new life, she died. I woke up downstairs, hearing screams. Ran upstairs, found her on the bed, dead. She had stopped breathing in her sleep. It's called SIDS, sudden infant death syndrome. My mom was screaming on the phone with 911, and automatically my superpower skills kicked in, and I took care of my other 2 sisters. They both saw it. I grabbed one, the other one to get out of the closet. She was hiding. I grabbed the one I could, brought her outside, and held her. I didn't cry because I had to be tough for her. If for anybody who's been through a tragic situation where you've had to take care of somebody else when you should have been taking care of yourself, but that wasn't an option, you know what it's like. So I held my sister, we prayed, but I knew that she was gone. I watched her on this little baby platform thingy. They brought her out into the ambulance and took her away, and I never saw her again. So from the time I was 12, I learned that life was precious and that it could be taken away at any time. Seventh grade, after my sister died, I started to cut. And it went on for years. In 7th grade, I was really depressed. I was still taking ADHD pills, but they weren't really working, and they changed my diagnosis to depression. 7th grade, I tried something new. You know, I used to tell myself that I'd never do anything that my mom did because I wasn't going to turn into a drug addict. And even though she turned her life around and she's a wonderful mom today, and she makes positive, good decisions for her well-being and our well-being, I told myself I would never get high. I would never do the things she did because I saw what they did to her, and I saw what they did to us, and I saw what they did to people around me. But in 7th grade, I smoked marijuana for the first time. For me, getting high was not just something fun. It was something I had to do, and I had to do it now. Right then, I had to get it done. And if I wasn't high, then I was miserable. I was an addict. I smoked pot for the first time with my girlfriend. Yeah, I'm bisexual. Whoop-de-doo. Some people are. I am. And I loved her. I wanted to marry this girl. But shit happens, and things just didn't work out. So I was heartbroken. I just wanted to share a little bit of that. Because I feel like it's important for some people to hear. Because I know people feel alone, and I felt alone. And maybe if you hear some of the little things that happened to me that seem like a big deal, what's going on with you now that seems like a big deal, you might see that it's just a small little piece in your life. And there's so much more. There's so much better to come. So if you've broken up with your boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, I know it seems like the end of the world. But it's not. Let's see. I continued to smoke pot with my girlfriend. Things were fun, things were great, whatever. But the summer before freshman year, I snuck out to hang out with some friends, and a dear friend of mine, or so I thought, raped me. I didn't want to believe that it happened, so for the next 3 months I pretended it wasn't real. For the next 3 months, he continued to harass me. Until finally, the school counselor walked into the bathroom. My leg was all bloody, cut up. She asked me why I did it to myself, and I told her. He was never put in juvie for reasons that I just don't care to discuss. Because it doesn't matter anymore. Situation is dead and gone. There's nothing I can do about it now. But since they couldn't do anything to him, my mom moved me into a girls' home, hoping that it would get better there, because it was a quote-unquote Christian girls, private Christian girls' home. I'm not going to tell you the whole actual name of it because it doesn't matter. They don't need a bad rep, even though they kind of already do. There, and it got worse. my addiction got worse. I learned something new, and it's called huffing. So I started to huff, because that's what all the girls there did, because it was easy to get a hold of. Let me tell you, don't do it. It can be your first time doing it, or it can be your 100th, and you can die. You can also die a couple days after doing it. A little science lesson or biology lesson here. The reason it kills you is because it freezes your lungs when you stop breathing. It can also leave you with nerve damage. And I have nerve damage to prove it. So just don't do it. We're going to talk a little bit about eating habits, because somewhere along the lines I became unhealthy with how I treated my body, not with just the cutting and not with just the drugs, but the fact that I would not eat for days, and I could never make myself puke, so I didn't do that, but I would take laxatives to shit it all out, in a vulgar way of saying it. It's just the ugly truth. I wouldn't eat, and then I would eat tons. And me and food have a terrible relationship, because it is so good, and it fills me up, it makes me full, but I feel like an ugly turd when I eat. I feel fat. And so, me and food wasn't good. And I began to develop an eating disorder. And that's something that's hard to kick, because you need food to survive. But when food is your addiction, it's hard. But hey, today, let me tell you something. I kicked that eating disorder in the ass. Pop. Don't get me wrong, I deal with it every day. But I have to tell myself that I'm worth it, that my body is beautiful. I just realized something. I have to tell myself every day to eat healthy, to eat enough, but not too much. And to treat my body well. Because my body is a gift. A gift from God. I have to treat it with the right kind of respect that it deserves. And while we get on respect of the body, I didn't respect my body very well. Sexting? Yeah, I did that. After I was raped, I didn't feel good enough. My whole life, I was saving myself for the one I loved. When I was raped, I felt like there was no point anymore. And people told me I could start over. That just because he ripped my virginity away from me didn't mean that I had to be a whore. So I said, yeah, I'm not gonna have sex. Didn't mean that I didn't share my body. And I regret the things that I did. But they're lessons learned, and I can't go back now and try and take them back because it's reality and this isn't a storybook. Can't turn a couple pages and rewrite the story. I can only finish writing what hasn't been wrote. So when I was at this girl's home, I started cutting even worse. Started huffing really bad. My mom found out that things weren't going as planned there, that I wasn't getting better, that I was getting worse. So she took me home, and I had to go back to the school that I was essentially running away from. I didn't last but a week there. Because I had to see him every day. And I had to see the same people that bullied me in 7th and 8th grade, that told me to slit my wrists and die. They called me an emo slut. Their glares and their judgmental it tore me up. I got high, stumbled down the hallway into the classroom, took out a piece of glass, and cut up my leg in front of the whole class. The school was put on lockdown. I was arrested and taken to the ER. Patched me up, sent me to a mental hospital. Went through a 2 or 3 day detox type of thing there. And then they didn't know what to do with me, because I needed help, but I required a dual treatment, meaning a treatment for somebody with a drug and alcohol problem, and also treatment for somebody with a cutting problem, with a mental illness. There wasn't a place out there for a 15-year-old girl to go who had a dual diagnosis. Something I want to do when I'm older is create an organization for kids who had such problems as me. Somewhere they can go to be safe and get the help they needed. We eventually found a place for me to go. It was a 90-day treatment facility. It was hard, but I did it. And that's where I got clean. I met other girls like me They went through the same things. I learned that I wasn't the only one. I learned that I wasn't unique in the sense that I felt alone in a room full of people. I learned that there was more people like me that felt alone the same way I did. I got out of treatment, and I started living my life in the best way I could. I got 18 months clean. It's a year and a half. I was looking at 2 years clean when I relapsed. I relapsed because of the guilt. I was doing the same thing that was once done to me. A couple times done to me. I was cheating on my boyfriend. I was once cheated on. Like I said, a couple times, but one time stands out the most to me. What I don't still understand is the unhuman part of me that would hurt somebody that I loved, and I knew exactly how I was hurting them. And I knew exactly how it felt to be hurt that way. But that's what addiction does to us. We lose morals that we always used to have. Even though I was clean, I stopped doing the things I needed to do to live a positive, healthy, fulfilling life. When I started cheating on my boyfriend, the guilt ate me up, and it eventually led me to relapse. I was out for about 2 months. We broke up. And then when I realized that I couldn't live my life that way again, not again was I going to go down the same path, because I knew that if I continued my life that way, I would be dead. I had hit my second rock bottom. My first rock bottom was when it was before I got sent to treatment. It was after my mom brought me back home from the girls' home. I needed to get high, and I was in the bathroom huffing, and I fell to the ground. I had a seizure. And for people with an open mind, this will make sense. Bear with me if it doesn't. But people talk about those out of body mind experiences, and I had that. I was standing in the corner of the bathroom watching myself shake and tremor and flop around on the floor, and I was dying. My heart, I felt it go really fast. Super fast. I felt it skip a couple beats. I was in a panic. and I was frozen. All I could do was watch myself die. And I kept looking at the door. I knew my sisters would be getting home soon. And I was so scared of them walking into the bathroom, finding their older sister dead because of drugs. Because she didn't have the balls to stop. And then I was in my body again. I wasn't in the corner anymore. I was back inside of me. Still shaking. And that moment when I realized that I was addicted and that I needed help was when all of those thoughts went through my brain about how I was hurting everybody I loved. I was becoming everything that I never wanted to be. And still, despite a voice screaming inside of me to stop, that you can't do this anymore, that something needs to change, my arm reached out and grabbed that can and put it back to my mouth. And that voice screaming at me to stop, and yet I still did it. By some miracle, I didn't die that day, but that day changed me. That day, I knew something had to change. That was my rock bottom. My second rock bottom was when I realized that once again I was becoming everything that I never wanted to be, everything that I said I would never become again. But this time around, things were worse. Because I didn't care. I was careless about everything and anything around me. I wanted to kill myself, and I didn't care who it would hurt. So, for the second time, I reached out, swallowed that lump in my throat called pride, and asked for help. And I got it. I didn't think people loved me. Thought everybody was out to get me. Because for a while, that's all there seemed to be, was people out to get me. But today I know that I am loved, that I am accepted, and today I love myself. I can look in the mirror and be grateful for life. And that's something that I didn't have, was gratitude for life. You change how you think, and you change how you love. You find the things worth loving, and you don't ever let them go. Hey guys, I know I looked a lot prettier in that last video just a second ago, but there's a couple things that I want to add as I was editing this. By the way, sorry for the choppiness, but there's like extra stuff that just didn't need to be said or anything. so I chopped it out, but then it makes my video chunky, so sorry for the bad editing. Anyways, there's a couple organizations I wanted to talk about. I'll be making videos about them, but I just wanted to add them here shortly. To Write Love on Our Arms is one of them. If you haven't heard about that organization, go ahead and Google it. Also Google the Butterfly Project. That has helped me incredibly. I have a tattoo in memory, or kind of, I have a tattoo that was inspired by the Butterfly Project. I don't know who came up with it, but it's amazing and it's helped me. Also, the It Gets Better Project. That's a phrase I always use. I tell my friends it all the time. I tell myself that, and it works. Music Saves Lives. It's amazing. I'll probably make a video that explains how music has influenced my life for the better and how it saved me. I'm trying to think of another organization, and I can't think of any right now, but I know there's more out there. Also, just people in general. There's people who have helped me so much, and I just want to do a shout out to everybody who's stayed on the phone with me because I wanted to kill myself and they saved me. So I'm just grateful for the loving people I have in my life. Yeah. So thank you so much for watching my video. I know it was really long, but everything that was said needed to be said, and I really wanted to be heard. I know when I watch videos like this about other people, it helps me, so my goal here is to help others and to show that it does get better. That there's sunshine after the darkness, you know? So, anyways, I know that was a cheesy little phrase, but whatever. So anyways, I love you all. Peace out. We were the